In this video, I wanted to cover some of the important things that you should do on the very first day of class in order to set things up well for the rest of the semester. To begin with, the very first thing that you should do is to start to introduce the topic of AI by going over what the policy is at your university or other educational institution dealing with the use of AI. So go over that policy, make sure that everyone knows. So the students should have already received this information or have had it in freshman orientation, hopefully, but because things are changing so quickly, because this is evolving so rapidly, it's important to go over that policy. So here's an example of the policy that we have at our university, at my university here. It states that cheating includes, but is not limited to, the use of referring to notes, books, devices, or other sources of information, including advanced artificial intelligence AI tools, such as ChatGPT, in completing an academic evaluation or assignment, when such use has not been expressly allowed by the faculty member who is conducting the examination. So it's important for the students to fully know. That way there's no sort of gray area, or the student can't claim later on, well, I didn't know what the policy was. This was brand new to me. It's spelled out in our university policy. So it's important to make sure that, okay, everyone is on the same sheet of music here, and we all understand that this falls within cheating here at this university, right? So again, make sure you go over it. I would give it to them word for word like that, project it up on the screen and show them, say, hey, this is the policy. So don't use AI when I don't specifically tell you to use AI, again, because that's the policy at this university. The next step, and this kind of goes along with that. So that's the university policy. And you can see that the way that we set it up is that we empower the instructor to then make the choices of that. So then I would extrapolate that, and then I would go over in my class on the first day, I would go over specifically what's my policy, right? What's my specific policy for my classroom here for the students? So again, there's lots of different ways you can do this, again, because you're empowered here. So there's lots of choices. There's a full spectrum of how you might use AI in your classroom, and it's important to ensure that the students know that. So here's an example of the syllabi statement, because this is where it should go. It should go within that syllabi, but I would read this to the class on the first day. So here's an example. This is something of what I plan to be using for mine. So here's my example. Advanced generative AI, such as ChatGPT, Google Bard, Microsoft Bing AI, and others, will be used on a multiple of specific assignments within this course. Examples of the way we will use AI in this course include to assist with brainstorming, idea generation, outlining, summarizing, and even to review your student-generated content. I will directly inform you when you can use AI. If you are not sure whether or not you are allowed to use AI on an assignment, be sure to ask me. Again, that's just an example. You can modify that to address some specific needs that you're going to be doing in your class, or maybe some ideas you have on other assignments. So I would use that as, again, a very specific way for the students to know, hey, we are going to be using it. Here's some examples. And if you have questions about whether or not you can use it, please ask me. Why? Because remember, the policy for the university is that they're not allowed to use it unless I directly say that they can use it. So again, making sure that they're understanding how this all connects together. So that's an important part. So that's an important second aspect of what they should be doing with that. So now we've gone over the policy, we've gone over your specific stance on it within the classroom. And that specific stance that you have, your syllabi statement that you've expressed, we talk about some examples, that sort of necessitates that you've already thought about your assignments. Because remember, we want to make sure that our assignments are done in such a way that they're using AI when we want them to and when we don't want them to, right? When we don't want them to use AI, we want to make our assignments strong enough so that it's difficult for them to use AI on it, right? So in order to do that, you would need to make sure that you go over your assignments, thinking about them. I would suggest that you use the share technique that I've developed. I've made a video about that before. There's an infographic dealing with it. So definitely use that as a resource to redesign assignments and assessments in the age of AI. Definitely use that as a resource. So having said that, that means that you've looked at that, you've thought about that. So again, now your assignments are strong. So it's difficult to use AI when you don't want them to. But you also need to have this mindset of, oh yeah, I'm also trying to develop AI literacy within my students. So there needs to be times when I incorporate AI. There needs to be times when I'm allowing them to use it for some aspect or maybe for the entire assignment. It depends on what exactly are your student learning outcomes. What is it that you're trying to get them to learn and to develop? Maybe it's specifically to use different technology such as AI, or maybe it's just for a component of it, again, because you're looking at something else. So again, it's really important that you think about that as part of that statement. So that's the second big part there. And then the final thing that I suggest is that after you've gone over the policy, after you've gone over your specific syllabi statement dealing with the use of AI within that classroom, is that you then have a discussion. It doesn't have to be very long, but just where you talk about AI, where you make sure that they understand that you know about AI, so you are addressing it in multiple ways. And then ask them questions about what are your thoughts on AI? What do you think about AI within this subject matter? What do you think about AI in the future? How do you think you're going to be working with AI once you graduate from the university? So again, asking them these questions, making sure that they're part of this process in using AI, because it's a new reality for us that we have to be addressing. We can't just ban it. We can't just say, no, you can't use it at all. It has to be a part of education now. It just simply is because of the necessity of it. Be prepared, though, to answer questions because they might ask you things such as, well, what is AI literacy? Why is that even important? Um, what are the different ways that AI can even be detected as far as AI text detection? Or how can I use AI as a student on my own without violating academic integrity? These are all questions that could come up in your discussion. So be ready to answer that. And thankfully, I made multiple other videos that address those issues as well. So that can prepare you for any type of discussion that you might have with your students. So it's all there as a resource. Please like and share those videos. Please subscribe to this channel so I can continue to make more of these so that we can all develop as an overall resource so that we can all work together here. So that's what it's all about. When you go through that, make sure that you're thinking about how students are going to react as far as, tying everything in with critical thinking, critical assessment, making sure that they're understanding that AI isn't perfect. It's working and trying to develop, but together you can get through this by understanding it. Again, that AI literacy aspect, critical thinking is a big part of that. So by implementing all of these things, you should definitely have a much better first day of class where this important topic is brought out front to begin with, and then that sets it up for having a great rest of the semester. All right. And remember, learning is for life.